Live.
Hello.
Okay.
Just the
Welcome.
two of us.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Roll for Initiative. This one being a little bit different.
Just a little bit.
I think I need to change the. No, I did. I changed it. Episode 31. Ridire enters the Feywild. Part 1.
Part 1.
We have no idea how many parts this is going to be before the players all reconvene. So, where we left off, let's jump right into this because this is going to be fun. Talamh was attacked in the middle of the night by a fox-like lycan who pierced her gut with a blade before attacking everybody. On subduing her after kicking her butt quite a lot, she was able to escape by using a thunder step, jumping out the window, and bleeding made her way to a fey tree. Ridire, upon seeing this, gathered up his stuff, made chase, tracked down the blood trail, and alerted the guards of their fallen comrade. She had taken out a couple of guards before escaping into the tree. And once the guards were set up, Ridire waited a little bit of time to see what the next course of action was before deciding that he needed to bring this creature to justice. And walked into the Fey portal underneath this giant Fey tree. Upon which point you walked aimlessly for a little bit, finding a group of Eladrin, these elves that are colored the various seasonal shades to them, and getting some actually really no advice at all on where to go. They were friendly. You talked with them a little bit, but they did not know much of the lycans. You proceeded northward until you stopped to pray to your basically to fate, and fate led you in the direction of this mountain range, which sits atop a giant crystal. And that's where we have left off. So, Ridire, what are you doing?
Well, have I summoned my steed already, or do I need to do that?
You will need to do that. You have not done that yet.
Okay. I will cast Find Steed to summon my steed from the material plane to this one.
Okay.
That will use a second level spell slot. Let me get. Oh, I didn't. I took a long rest, so I got my spell slots back.
Yep.
So I'll use a second level spell slot, and my magical elk buddy will appear, and I will ride majestically toward this mountain with the crystal on it.
Okay. So, what is your state of mind right now?
He's not quite as enraged as he was like before.
Mm-hmm.
That's still kind of what's driving him, but now he's maybe a little bit kind of confused because he's like, you know, was this the right decision? But there's that part of that stubborn part of him that's like, well, it's the decision I've made, so I have to live with it. So I'm just gonna follow this through to the end. So he's continuing to push forward based on that.
Okay.
And it's kind of one of those weird things where like the more opposition that appears before him, probably the harder he's gonna push forward. You know,
Yep.
like as opposed to like if just nothing happens, he'll have more time to think. So it depends, but
Yeah. Okay. So we had talked last time about you traveling for. Do you remember the time frame before you stopped and got a direction from the from
I think
Fate?
it was like a full day's worth of travel.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. So you had traveled north for a for 24 hours, and now you are heading more of a northeastern direction. Um,
I think I'd always been going northeast because I randomly rolled for what direction to go in.
yeah, it. The last time we talked, you had kind of made your way up towards kind of this point, I believe.
It was like northeast, and now I'm going
Yeah,
more east northeast. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So you kind of you were going, and then praying to fate or whatever it is.
I might be going still northeast, but I've shifted more to the easterly side of that.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And so you're probably about um a 3 to 4 day journey, depending on opposition, to the main part of this mountain range. You'll probably start to hit some of the mountains on day 3, and on day 4 you'll reach the actual more of where the mountain range is heavily concentrated from what you can see. So let's bring up campfire again. All right, and we're gonna say, go ahead and roll me a d4.
That's a 3.
Okay. This is one of those times where that actually is going to be a thing. And we're going to say right now that it is a 10. So that's your DC. Okay, so you need 3 successes or 3 failures, whichever comes first.
Hey.
So it could roll up to 5 times for this.
I
As well, look. So as you're traveling,
yeah.
You haven't been to the Feywild before.
No.
This is all very strange. The sky continues to be this purple, blue, green with streaks of red that just randomly go through it. It's a very rainy, windy day on your first day of travel. It is a biting cold, nasty wind. The raindrops themselves almost feel like they are falling and then turning into you at times. and just this faint little sound on the wind of laughter as the magic around you just plays tricks on you. So, not the most fun weather to be traveling through, but nonetheless, you are pushing forward.
Yes. Just a second here. Okay. Okay. I want to use. So because I can communicate telepathically with my elk and it understands a language I speak, can I use persuasion instead of animal handling to like keep its morale up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, persuasion.
Okay, hard success with a 25.
All right, I want to use intimidation to just keep anyone that comes across my way out of the way, or to stop things from attacking me because I'm not worth the trouble.
Okay.
That's 27.
I love it. I love it. So yeah, as you're traveling, you see in the, let's see. Oh, you are moving by and you see a group of Aridni. You recognize these from your
Yeah.
Start of your journey on this path, and they look like, oh, humanoid. This could be fun. This is a material plane creature. Let's mess with him. And then they see the look in your eyes, and they go somewhere else. They are not. They know better. All right. This might be the last one.
I can't think of a good way that I could use deception, which is my other best skill. But I'm thinking athletics. Essentially just to like to keep myself up, or maybe even like getting out and walking to give the elk a break every now and again, and keeping my footing and stuff like that.
Keeping yourself warm, keeping yourself.
Ooh. Yeah, that's an 8.
So as you, as you're, the cold and the wind just start to get you, and even though you're a big tough guy, like I said, sometimes the rain seems to turn into you. Every now and then, you feel like it's actually going down and coming up under your armor, and it just bites into you that much more, and you really wish you were where you were supposed to be at right now. What else you got?
I can't use any of those again then, can I? Or I have to do it has to be a different skill every time?
Yeah, with a +9, let's make it interesting.
Okay.
If you get another failure, I'll allow you to use one of your others again.
Let's do performance to hum to myself a travel tune to keep my mind off the cold.
A little jaunty tune to lift morale?
Yep.
I like it.
That's 7.
All right.
I my teeth are chattering too much. I'm trying to like hum, and it's like.
Every now and then the elk looks back at you like, "What is this noise you're making?" All right, I will now allow you to use one of those other ones for your last roll.
Can I just use intimidation in the same way again?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's 20.
I mean, the fact is there are tons of creatures you know nothing about here.
Yep. And I don't need to. I'm gonna keep them away from me. Arm's length.
You are passing giants, disfigured giants with 2 heads that are just lumbering off in the distance. There are um, some creatures you've seen around, but very small numbers, and now you're passing, like, small little makeshift camps of tabaxi and lizard folk, and, you're really just, you are on a mission. You're going to get where you need to go. So, that is a success. Oh, that's right. All right, so you get one roll on the windfall chart. So roll me a d20.
That's a 1.
Okay. All right, this is a boring one because we don't track food consumption. So I'm going to go to the next one up.
Well, I rolled again for a 19 if you want to use that instead.
Okay. All right. So as you're pushing forward, you hit kind of, focus on getting out of the weather, heading towards this mountain. As you approach this mountainous region right here, it starts to turn less of a forest and more of a rocky, foggy terrain.
Well, I was in the plains, not the forest.
Not
right?
the forest, yeah, plains.
Yeah. So it gets rockier instead of grassland.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, and you start to feel like, you're not sure how much longer the elk is going to be able to continue up. There are no pathways. There are no roads. This is all just nature, natural. You are able to find a few game trails to follow that do aid in your journey.
Mm-hmm.
But just as you're starting to feel like, where am I going? What am I doing here? You find yourself in a circle of mushrooms that you did not see as you walked into it.
Okay.
And roll me an Arcana check.
6.
All right, had to beat a 5. You instantly feel the energy of fate coursing through you, and that feeling you get right before you cast a spell is suddenly at an all-time awareness. So, what level spellcaster are you? Do you know?
I can cast 3rd level spells.
Okay.
I think if it was because I'm a half caster.
Mm-hmm.
So you get 3rd level spells normally as a 5th level character if you're a main a dedicated caster. But
I've had this question for a while, so
I think spellcasting level is just the highest spell that you have. Let me see. Blah, 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 spell. I think spellcasting level just means what level of spells you have access to. So mine would be level 3, I believe.
Okay. So your next 3rd level spell you can cast without using a spell slot.
Oh, that's really good for me because
I
only have 2 3rd level spell slots. Awesome.
Well, the next one is free. 19 is a good one.
Yeah, I'll take it. Cool.
Wow. 20 is really good. Okay. So, you've reached the mountain pass. It has been 3 more days.
Okay. I think the rain, trying to ignore the rain and whatnot, has forced me. I've had to focus on my goal more. The rain won't let my mind wander because then I start freezing. So I had to like steel myself by focusing on my goal. So I think that's kind of locked me in a little bit more.
Okay. That's good to know. So as you are climbing this mountain, as I said before, it starts to become fog and this mist, this just perpetual mist. And it is the end of the 3rd day, and off to the side, you see a campfire just up ahead.
Okay.
Sitting around it are a group. Let me see here. Feywild.
Furbolgs.
A group of furbolgs.
Ah! Ha ha!
Yeah, that kind of fits in with the area. Actually, no, we're in the mountainous region.
They're giantkin, the furbolgs. But I don't know if they're native to the Feywild. I don't think they are.
They are here.
Oh, well, cool.
But yeah, you know what? We'll because there is still some grassy areas. You're not in the heart of the mountains yet. Um, and so you see a group of these very tall, kind of goofy-looking creatures with bluish skin and as you approach, are you going to kind of walk the path near them? Are you going to approach or avoid?
I'll approach slowly.
Okay.
I'll call out. Greetings, fellow travelers.
Travelers, eh? No, no, we live here.
Oh, well then.
But it looks like you don't.
Quite right. Greetings all the same.
Oh, greetings. Greetings. What's your business here?
I'm just traveling around, heading through the mountains here, and saw your campfire. As it's getting late, I was hoping I could possibly share the fire with you. If
Well,
it's not too much to ask.
that depends. That's a mighty majestic creature you got there. You taking good care of it?
I am doing my best. I'll pat him, you know, on the neck.
Yeah? He taking good care of you? And your elk lets off a couple of kind of short, soft grunts and kind of kicks the dirt a little bit. He likes you.
Oh, well, good to know.
He vouches for you. Good enough for him, good enough for us. Have a seat.
Cool. I'll oh, I think I have conjure water now. Paladin. Oh crap! Where did I lose my paladin spells? I just had it and then I must have accidentally clicked away from it. Yeah, I can cast Create Food and Water, and since I have a free spell, let's see. I'm gonna ask them if they have a bucket that I can borrow,
Yeah. Yeah, we
or
got.
or if there's just a good little rocky cove for me to fill with water. Um, but yeah, if they have a bucket, then I'm gonna cast Conjure or Create Food and Water.
Okay.
I'm creating mostly just water for the horse, but because it also creates food, I'm gonna create a bunch of food. They're welcome to have some. It does specify the food is bland, but it's very nourishing. Um, so they're more than welcome to have as much as they want because it creates 45 pounds of food.
Oh, good lord. um.
Um,
Okay.
and 30 gallons of water. Although I'm gonna have it just create enough to fill containers, for everyone to drink. The water is clean, and then the food is bland but nourishing. So I'll definitely, obviously, have some for a meal, and I'll let the horse or the elk, I mean, have some because it says it's fine and it can sustain up to 15 humanoids or 5 steeds.
Okay.
So one steed per 3 humanoids to try and math that out. So I don't know how many of them you said there were, but there should be plenty.
Yeah. So looking around at the
That's
campfire
well,
now.
actually, it sustains that many people for up to 24 hours. That's assuming probably 3 meals.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Um. There are 3 furbolgs
okay.
at this campfire.
Yeah, tons of food then.
Okay.
Um, and I'm gonna get rid of that free spell slot, but that's a fun role-playing way to use it. So I'm super happy with that.
Well. Um.
I basically like just say a quick prayer and then just food appears.
They watch with amusement as you're doing the prayer, and then all of a sudden the food just starts appearing and filling the bucket, and the one that you've been talking with sits back and, well, that's a neat trick. Mighty kind of you for sharing. Please have a seat. Get warm.
The least I can do for you sharing your campfire with me. I'm not the best cook, but it's hearty stuff. It's good for you. I'll be eating some. I'll take off my helmet.
Well, friend, do you have a name?
Yes, they call me Ser Ridire.
Well, good to meet you, Ridire. That's that's stone, and that's twig. Twig is the biggest of them, of course,
Love it.
and well, I'm Craig.
I'll nod to each of them as he introduces them. Um, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Yeah, pleasure to make yours. So, what brings a visitor from the material plane coming out all this way?
Well,
Said you were traveling?
yes, that's part of it. I obviously was a little bit held information back a little bit at first there when we started talking, but
Well,
you
like
seem
you
trustworthy. Yes, I've had some run-ins with some lycanthropes,
do.
and there's one of them who I have a problem with.
Nope. Stop. We don't really talk about them around here.
My apologies, but I completely understand. No friend of mine either.
We're, as long as everybody stays, nice to the trees and the vegetation, we don't pick sides. But the queen, on the other hand, is none too happy about them.
See. I can't say I'm happy about them either, but obviously I respect your decision to not get too involved. I completely understand that, so I won't bring you into it any further than is necessary.
Just letting you know, you start bringing out the L word, you're going to start to bring out the attention of the queen. Make sure that you're wanting that before you get too far up the mountain.
Well, if she's an enemy to them, then I have no issues with that.
Fair enough, fair enough. People go to the queen for all sorts of things.
This queen you speak of, she rules this whole plane, or
Oh no, not that big of a queen. Just the mountain. You started to notice her domain as soon as you started to see the fog.
I see. Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
He points up points up at the sky, and you see a full moon amongst the purple and blue, and roll me a perception check.
Roll a perception check. That is I have advantage because of my shield, because I haven't taken it off yet, so it'd be a 21.
Okay. The night before and the night before that, as long as you have been traveling towards this mountain, there has been a full moon. What's interesting is the Feywild only has one moon compared to the material plane.
Yes, okay. And it's always hovering directly above the crystal, right?
That's what it seems to be, yeah. And it is full, and it is shining, and the closer you get to, the closer it feels like it is shining directly onto that crystal.
Cool. I want a house like that.
Yeah, she, wherever the moon follows, that's pretty much her domain.
Interesting. Is she benevolent ruler, or sort of lesser? She doesn't seem to me like she's necessarily, with these lands, would be cruel, but
well,
maybe she's somewhere in between.
Well, I mean, she can help you get what you need, as long as you're willing to part with something in its place.
Interesting.
You leave her land alone, she'll leave you alone. That's the best we can do. We take care of the plants and care for the animals. Her covens leave us alone, and we know to steer clear of them.
Sort of understanding between her and the others around the area keeps the peace.
That's what we do.
I can't fault anyone for that.
If the covens need something, they'll ask every now and then, but for the most part, they like to keep to themselves.
Fair enough. Oh, thank you for the information. Being new to these parts, it helps to know a little bit of the lay of the land.
Wouldn't want you running into the wrong people and saying the wrong thing. That's how misunderstandings happen.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Happy to do it. Thank you for showing respect to your manimal friend there, and for the food. We appreciate it.
Once again, it's no trouble at all. So.
Well,
Yeah.
I think we're gonna bunk down for the night. You're welcome to do so by the fire.
Yeah, I will. My elk doesn't need to sleep. It's a celestial.
Yep.
So, and it has a telepathic bond with me. So, I'll go and I'll make sure it's fed and feeling okay, and I'll say feel free to wander and graze and do whatever you'd like. Just if you wouldn't mind staying nearby and keeping an eye out.
Roll an animal handling check with advantage.
With advantage. 9.
It doesn't respond. It just kind of wanders away. But
Fine.
You have been traveling with this thing for a while. You're pretty confident it's
yeah,
not gonna have any harm come to you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and even if it's not paying the closest attention, just the fact that there's a creature awake, especially a celestial creature awake, will probably deter your smallest things. Because it has all the stats of an elk, so it can kick pretty dang good.
Okay. Night comes and takes you fairly peacefully. Good food, a little bit of conversation helps you prepare for the next day, and you go to bed with a little bit more peace of mind. And the night passes with no events. You wake up in the morning, a little uncomfortable in the fact that the fog has persisted the entire night, and so you wake up just feeling a little bit wet. But you stretch, the sun is coming down, there's no tree cover right here, so the sun hitting you warms you up pretty quick, and you're able to continue on with the day.
Okay. So I'm just grab my water bottle.
Yep.
I'll eat some more of this food that I created since it lasts for 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell the furbolgs that they're welcome to have as much as they want. It's just it'll only last for 24 hours and it goes bad. So I'll just warn them of that. And but they're welcome to eat as that should last them at least through lunchtime if they're just hanging out here.
Yeah, it'll actually last them until next supper.
Yep.
So because it makes enough food for.
Yeah, it makes a ton of food. So yeah, they can. I'll just make sure me and the elk have had a little breakfast, and we'll head off. And I'm obviously I was already kind of heading in that direction just due to my gut feelings, but I'm gonna go try and find this queen.
Okay.
Because apparently she has a problem with the lycanthropes, which means enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? So.
So, roll me a survival check.
Yes, sir. Survival. Nat 20.
Nat 20.
Oh yeah.
Right.
That's when you want to see a Bowie.
That is a beautiful Bowie right there. All right. Another day of travel. You are able to find a game trail within like half an hour that winds itself down. And actually, talking to the furbolgs, letting them know kind of where you're headed now, they are more than happy to point you in the right direction of the game trail. And so you find it immediately and make your way towards the summit of the Mountain of the Queen.
Mountain of the Queen.
Yes. And the, so roll me a perception check with advantage now, because, I mean, you already had it, but...
Yeah, perception, 16.
Dull 16's okay.
I'll take it.
Yeah. As you're traveling along, you make good time on the first leg of the journey, and it gets to be a roughly what you would assume would be noon. The fog is getting even more thick at this point. Not to the point where you can't see, but more so of the, more so just it. There are times where seeing what your elk is stepping on, you have no idea. You're trusting your elk at this point.
Gotcha.
But with a 16 perception, you're feeling pretty good about leading the elk through areas that you can see. You're putting your faith in it.
I mean, and I'll keep the pace slower, so we're not stumbling off anything, off a cliff or something. But
yeah. No, I assumed you're not at a full gallop at this point. You're on a steady, sure-footed pace.
Yeah, at most it's a trot, because I'm not going to go much faster than that. With obviously I've found somewhat of a trail, but it's like I'm not gonna go galloping or sprinting through this mist and stuff.
Not on this terrain. You would know better. Off to the sides, as you're walking, you start to see humanoid figures among the rocks. At first, it's like one that you kind of get a glimpse at, and then an hour passes, and you see another. And then as you start to make your way up the mountain, you start to see more and more. And when I say up the mountain, you're not going to the very top right now. You are finding a road or a route that is going to probably the halfway point up this mountain. Maybe a little less. And roll me another perception check.
Roll a perception check. 6.
Ooh. You're traveling and the fog starts to get really, really thick and difficult to see. And you're able to see directly in front of you, but looking up at the crystal, it is now obscured by a heavy fog. And following the pathway, you take a slow turn.
Can I do one thing first?
Yeah, please do.
I want to lightly touch my elk's antlers and cast light on them.
Okay.
So that they will. I mean, it won't dispel the mist, I'm assuming, but it'll create a nice little pocket of light around us.
Yes.
So with that, if the mist wasn't there, it puts bright light to 20 feet and dim light to 20 feet beyond that.
Okay.
So obviously, it's at this point, with how close the mist is, it's probably bright light within the little tiny sphere of influence I have within the mist.
Yes, but it is enough to see the ground very clearly.
Oh,
and
awesome.
So you're like at least the immediate ground in front of you. So you're more confident in following the path than you would have been.
Awesome.
And so you start to make your way, and you turn a corner around a large boulder that is fallen down, and the path seems to split left or right. Which way do you go?
Are they both going uphill?
Yep.
And I can't see the crystal at all.
No. Nope. Crystal is obscured completely at this point.
I am going to I'm gonna kind of like pet the elk down, and I'm gonna say, take me where we need to go, and I'm gonna let it choose the direction.
Okay, roll an animal handling check.
10.
10, okay. Do you have your elk sheet up?
I just have the stats for an elk, but there is,
Yeah,
I mean,
perfect.
there's some slight different stuff for because it's the summoned steed. So
Okay. Roll me a wisdom check for your elk.
Okay, it has no bonus to wisdom, and I don't think the find seed spell. I think that only affects its intelligence. Yeah, its intelligence becomes 6. It knows one language that I can speak.
So this would be a straight D20.
Yeah, okay. That's 3.
The elk looks left or right, and it goes left.
Cool. That's the way I would have gone had I had, anyways, so.
All right. So once again, you get the feeling that fate has kind of steered you in the right direction.
All right.
You travel for about 10 minutes, and you come across the terrain changes slightly and becomes more flat. And peering through the fog, you see a small hut situated just off of the mountain, very kind of patchwork mud and brick, some sticks, but mostly mud based, and blends in very well with the mountain. You could have looked for this hut and not found it.
Cool.
You see a fire coming from a chimney that the smoke seems to crest and blend in with the fog surrounding it.
And this is just kind of off to the side of the trail?
This is where the trail is led.
Oh. Okay. Is Ridire the kind of guy who asks for directions, or is he the kind of guy who says, well, this isn't where I want to be, and goes and takes the other fork? All right, I will approach. I
like
did.
it.
I will approach the house.
Okay.
I will dismount. And I will knock on the door politely.
Okay, so the door is really just a thick animal skin fur.
Oh, okay. Well then I
Draped
will.
in
I'll
front.
just. Yeah, I'll just call out and say, hello. Is there someone in there?
A voice, old and scratchy, comes through, and you hear, "Yes, yes, come in."
I'm just looking for directions to the Queen's abode. I'm assuming I need to take the other fork in the road. Is that correct?
Advice. Advice and guidance. Those can be provided. Come in. Have a seat.
Sounds like a plan. I guess I'm entering the hut. Deer's a little bit too trusting of people.
Alright, give me 1 second here, because I forgot to do this last time, and I really need to do this. That's how it is. Thank you, Google.
One thing I should specify for you, since we're potentially going to be dealing with lots of Fae here.
Mm-hmm.
Ridire is not his given name. So them knowing that him giving them the name Ridire does not give them any power over him that a name would give over him, because it is just a title.
Fair enough.
So I'm gonna make that specified forward, because he will openly tell any Fae that they can call him Ser Ridire, because that name holds no power over him, because it is just the title of the line of knights. So his real name has been lost to history, and that is good enough.
Alright, so you enter the hut.
Yes.
And inside, at a fire, in a fairly nicely made chair, is a woman. Green skin, white, just stark white hair, disheveled, clumped and knotted in places, hunched over, and says, "The queen it is you seek, is that right?"
Amongst other things, yes.
If an audience with Nisneven is what you're after, I can be of assistance. But what is it that you truly want?
That's pretty much what I want right now.
People don't go to the queen for just any reason.
Yes, but my reasons are my own.
They may be for now. Well, in the land of Nisneven, we're all about deals. I offer you something. Guidance, direction, a path. What do you give to me?
That's some money. But I'm assuming that's not the kind of thing you're dealing in.
Material plain goods are so fleeting. Small
I could
favor, small deal. Doesn't have to be big, but...
I could offer you a song.
A song? It'd have to be a pretty good song.
How about this? I'll sing for you. If you like it and deem it worthy of something in return, then you can offer me something in return. If it's not, then I'll be on my way.
Roll a persuasion check.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just use normal persuasion because that's a 24.
Good lord. I knew when I said it that it was like, all right, well, this is going to happen. Let's see. D20, where'd you go?
Thought about using my channel divinity to give me an extra +5 to that, but I decided not to waste it. Although I get those back on a short rest. Oh man, I should have used it. Oh well.
Wow.
What'd you roll?
Rolled an 18. Let's hear this song.
All right. To the best of my ability, I'm just gonna sing a song from my a song about just lamenting the past that I learned from another inmate in prison.
Okay.
It's a song about. It's not about anything specific to any one person. It's just kind of about. It's sort of a story, but more of like an anecdote. You know, like just about someone that you know you lost stuff, and you know, will you ever get it back? And there's a tiny bit of hope at the end that you know maybe this isn't the end. And that's a 6. That is a crit fail. Oh, she's gonna attack me, isn't she?
She listens to you sing this song. It is.
I don't remember all the words because it was 30 years ago.
It is pitchy at the start. It takes you a couple of measures to find the starting note. You forget the lines and have to start over at one point. All the while she's listening and just smiling, like rotted teeth, like these, just sits there with her hands kind of clasped in front of her, long, gnarled fingers.
Yep.
I mean, just the sight of her is off-putting enough to affect your performance.
Okay.
And you get done with it, and
I have to remember that Ridire's not Jareth.
you know, I think I'll take that song. Thank you.
I now don't know any of the words to the song, right? That's what happened?
You don't know.
Okay.
All you know is that she said she'll take that song.
Okay, that's fine.
In exchange for the song, I will give you directions to the Queen's entrance.
Okay.
That sounds like a euphemism. I mean how to get to her castle.
Oh, I understand. I wouldn't assume something so crass.
That was, in her voice, that was a PsychGuy realizing what he had said. Oy. Yeah. Okay. So, do we have a deal? She reaches out long green hand.
Trying to think how taking that song could be in any way misconstrued. Yeah, I'll shake her hand.
Okay. So, you're going to head out here and take the other path forward. When you get to the next hut, go around. Don't listen to her. She's not right. You'll go around about an hour's journey, and you'll come to a small cavern. Look up, you'll see the moon. And say the queen's name, and the entryway will open, and you will be in the chambers of the queen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool. I'll leave.
Okay.
As I ride away, I'm disappointed in myself with my bad performance. I'm gonna try and sing the song to myself to see if I can remember the words I couldn't remember.
You have no memory of a song.
Okay, cool. That's what I assumed was gonna happen. I just wanted to make sure.
You gave up that memory.
Well, it's a good thing I'm not a bard.
You search for the words, and you're like, something happened where I learned a song. But
I don't remember what the song is, or even what it's about.
You don't even remember what happened that led to the song.
Gotcha.
Like,
all I know is that there was a time in my youth that I learned a song, and now I don't know what that song is.
Yep.
That's about as much as it is.
You don't remember the like, you remember being in prison.
I still remember that particular memory of learning that song.
But there's like a day that, in already a 30-year memory, is hazy. That day is gone.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. that could have gone a lot worse, so I'll take it.
As far as hag deals go, that's a pretty small one.
That's why I was like, I offered something that I didn't care about, but it's something that has an amount of worth in that sort of ethereal sense of being, you know, I guess in a way she took that tiny piece of happiness that I used on that day to make, you know, to make the time in prison easier. I'm obviously beyond that now, so it's not as big of a deal, but it's still a somewhat happy memory, or at least
it's a happier memory that is now hers to do with as she pleases.
Yep. Works for me. Alrighty. I will follow the path, the directions she gave me.
Okay. So, you follow the path. Roll a... Oh, let's do another survival check. With advantage because she's given you... Okay, it's a 10.
It's a 10.
It really, unless your crit failed, you have directions. And actually, now that you've left her den, the fog lightens up a little bit. It's a little less intense as you make your way along the path. It's still thick, but instead of it being like walking in a cloud, you're more walking through a one of those mist machines at like amusement parks and stuff where it cool down. So.
Also, anytime the light goes out, I'll recast light on the antlers.
Okay, that's just a cantrip, right?
Yeah, it's a cantrip that I know it actually as a racial thing. I get it from being an ASMR, so I just inherently can do it as an ASMR.
Nice.
Yeah.
Easy enough. I won't take it away like you took away my rat. I'm still mad about that.
You sent the rat in as a scout, glowing brightly into a room full of enemies. Of course they attacked it.
Oh, he
You
just ran
barely,
away.
you barely managed to keep it alive, and so then after when you got to the next place, it ditched you because it was like, I ain't gonna. It wasn't like a familiar you summoned that was bound to you. It was a rat you
No, it
found
was
on
just
the
a rat.
street.
That was my sacrificial rat.
Yeah, it was like, I don't want to be the sacrificial rat.
I miss that rat. I still think about that rat.
Forever.
That's been like 3 years.
You made a new character even, so you weren't even playing. The last time we played that campaign, you weren't even playing that character.
I know.
Oh,
okay. Focusing in.
Back on track.
I think about that every time I see somebody cast light on a shield or something. I'm like, should be a rat. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So, you travel another hour and a half or so.
Yep.
And you arrive at the cavern. At some point, you do come across this other hut. Very similar make. This one has ornate, like, antlers surrounding the door frame. And you hear this beautiful voice call out to you and... dear, don't you want to come in for a drink? Rest your feet by the fire?
Making toast! Just keep rolling past. Sorry, it's a DBZ and bridge reference. Making toast! Ting! Butter and toast! I just ignore her and go back.
You just hear that and or you do that and you just hear that and then a bunch of curse words. These two are not part of a coven. They do not get along.
That's fine with me. I probably would have gotten a similar outcome from either one that I met with, so that's the thing. But I'll take what I got while I got it, and I'm not gonna get in any deeper than I need to.
All right, so
I get the fam and I meet the queen, anyways.
You are now. All right, so you pass that. You approach into the cavern, and at this point, the cave entrance is just barely big enough to fit you and the elk. It's a tight fit.
I will dismount, and I will dismiss the elk.
Okay.
I can dismiss it at any time, causing it to disappear. So back to whatever its home plane or whatever is, and then I can summon it back later. So.
Yep. And so with a poof, and this silver glitter just kind of sprinkles down and then towards the moonlight and dissipates.
Okay.
You find yourself standing in a small cave entrance that is filled with silver moonlight. The sky shining down, the moon is perfectly silhouetted in a hole above you.
Nis Deven.
And in saying the name, the wall directly in front of you shimmers and a door perfectly your size appears. Silver white runes cover the door. Celtic knots surround the frame.
Ooh, pretty.
And as you were watching it, it just opens in a very elegant motion. You can see it scraping across the ground, and you expect to see some resistance or hear the sound of rocks, and there's nothing. It is this majestic motion as it opens.
Okay. I will kind of just like, just real quick wipe off any dust on me and stuff. I will take off my helmet, tuck it under my arm, and I will walk through the door.
All right. So, walking through the door, you find yourself at the top of a staircase.
Ooh.
Leading down. On either side of you are these silver runes that light up as you walk in front of it, casting a nice light. Very easy to see, very clearly a guidance down.
Yeah, I'll just proceed forward.
Okay.
All the best decorum I can muster.
I'm just pulling up what the queen looks like. There we go. Thank you, Curiosity. Hopefully you can't say you're welcome back because you're not supposed to be watching.
And I say, accept you're welcome for this picture I drew of the queen.
Okay, that is ready to go. So, you follow the steps down, and it feels like half an hour has passed. Then an hour. Then an hour and a half. And you're starting to wonder if you are going to be seeing, like, lava flows at any point. You had gone a ways up the mountain, but with this direct path down, you know you've got to be making some distance into the underneath the core of the earth. Or not the core, but the
Crust.
deep into the Feywild. Deep underneath the Feywild. And
I'm just going to keep going down.
you eventually... The odd thing is you don't feel exhausted at all by this. It's very effortless to make your way down. Eventually you reach a landing. And sitting across from you is a winter Eladrin. White hair, white pale skin. And do I want to go winter? Give me 1 second. Let me... Nah. Yeah, I don't want to... No, not winter. We'll go spring. So, very green skin, green hair. Sitting at the base of this and sees you and jumps up and does a low bow. Male spring Eladrin. And welcome. You're in for a treat.
I will bow. I bowed back as he was bowing. I just want to make to.
Oh, you're a polite one. Oh, I like you.
Appreciate it.
I like you. You're polite. Okay. And what are we in to see the Queen for today?
I have some enemies that I believe she shares, and I wish to aid her and possibly receive aid in making things difficult for them, at the very least.
Ooh, I like this. I like this. She's gonna like this. I have a good feeling about this one. This is good.
I like this guy.
Not selfish. Not selfish. Not self-absorbed. But have a goal in mind. Yes. Ooh, you're gonna be a fun one to watch. All right. Name that you go by.
Most call me Ser Ridire.
Ser Ridire. Ser Ridire, hailing from material plane? Specifics? We don't really care about cities in the material plane, but you know, if you guys have your styles.
I'm from the road. I wander.
Ser Ridire, the material plane wanderer. I like it. I like you. Okay.
I am going to specify that I never actually said the material plane. He made that assumption.
Yes,
so that cannot be used against me because I did not give that to him.
Your entire being gave that to him.
No, that's fine, but I'm saying like with the Fae, it's like any information about you that you willingly give to them, they can potentially use. So that was not a piece of information willingly offered forward. So
roll an insight check.
Sorry, I have had very little chance to deal with Fae in D&D, and I'm really excited to because I know you got to be so careful about everything you do. Insight. 15.
Okay.
Good for me.
You're not worried about this.
Okay.
He's here to watch and enjoy.
He's just doing this so he can announce me, essentially.
Yep.
Okay.
Roll me a... choose a wisdom or an intelligence check and make an argument for the one you choose to have your knowledge of the Feywild. Because it's known on Fadir. Like, people know about the Fey trees. They know where they go.
Well, I would rather use intelligence, one, because that's my better stat, but I haven't done, like, study at all. So any information I would know about the Feywild would have been from stories I heard, would have been from personal experiences with denizens of the Feywild. So that wisdom, that street smarts, I think, would be the thing that would play into that for my character.
Perfect. Roll a straight intelligence check.
Wisdom, you mean? Or do I have to roll intelligence because I argued against it?
I thought you said intelligence.
No, I said I wouldn't use intelligence because it's not book learning.
You wouldn't use intelligence. Okay, so straight wisdom check.
Yeah. 13.
13, okay. So, yes, you would know about giving up the information and being cautious with that. The specifics of the types of creatures that require that, or that play off of that, yeah, you probably wouldn't have a deep knowledge of that.
I don't necessarily know who's gonna have that, be able to use that power. I just know that, like, when dealing with Fae in the Feywild, just kind of, don't be dumb.
Perfect. All right, so we've established your knowledge. I like this. Ooh, I'm happy. Playing this character is energizing. Whew. It's gonna be hard to sleep after
he's got a very intoxicating energy.
Okay, so, yes, so wait here. I will announce you. When I come and get you, then you can go up and introduce yourself to the Queen. So, ground rules. Do not approach. We will kill you. I will position you at the seat of, or at the foot of her throne. You will stay there. You can back up, but don't go forward. Your Majesty, Your Highness, all good. Lady of Witches, perfectly acceptable. Nis Neven, a little formal, a little familiar actually, a little familiar. Might want to get on her good side before you use her name in her court. We good? Clear? Happy?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. You need anything? Water, food, and refreshments. Anything while you wait.
I'm perfectly fine for the moment, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Oh, you're an easy one. Wow. I wish all our visitors were this good. I appreciate it. I will be back. Thank you. Shouldn't have to wait too long. Does another very low bow.
And I bow back.
And then just skips off. You, roll me a perception check.
Perception check. Perception check. That's a 20.
Okay. So
I have my shield on.
As you're watching him run off, you now look into the chamber that he is running into. It is a giant cavern. 30, 40 feet across, probably 40 or 50 feet back, very tall ceiling, 3 stories tall, at least. On the sides, as he's marching past, you see 20, probably, little groups of hags. Some are green, like the one you just met. Some are... Feywild.
Well, I mean, hags technically, I think, are shapeshifters, so they can take almost any kind of form.
Yeah, in this, they are in their natural form.
Gotcha.
They are as comfortable as they can be, and
all kinds of colors. Then
they are not going to try and take away from their queen's dealings.
I'm seeing purple. I'm seeing blue. I'm seeing green.
There are 2 specific types. There's the green, and then there was one more that is a lot more rare that you've never seen before.
The night hag. I'm not looking at any stats. I'm just looking at the pictures.
Yeah.
The night hag is like a purple. And then there's the sea hag, which seems less likely for this kind of.
No.
Those are the only ones in the monster manual, but you probably have some extra ones because you got your other resources you're using.
I do, and I am. I just have to find. Oh, of course it's gonna freeze up on me.
I like, as you obviously know and have seen, I like undead. I like using undead in my campaigns. Undead are my bread and butter. As I know how to customize them into really cool and hopefully creepy ways. So that's what undead and demons and stuff is the kind of stuff that I know the most about.
Yeah, so for the most part, you're seeing a lot of green hags, but every now and then there is this pack of maroon, dark crimson, red-skinned hags. They are much more attractive than their green counterparts. And
which could still be very, very ugly.
No, these are like supermodel looking.
Oh, okay.
But with sharp pointed ears, long black hair, and are a adorned in little little crimson vials hung on their neck.
Like blood hags or something. That's interesting.
Yes, these are red hags.
It's racist.
Don't get me canceled.
You a hag, racist.
We already dealt with this with dwarves. I'm just making my note of day 5 entered Queen.
Yeah, so depending on what kind of progress they make.
Which is going to be really interesting. Alright. Probably about 10 minutes goes by, and you see the Eladrin at the foot of this tall, probably 10-foot staircase that leads to a big silver ornate throne. And it's very easy to see the throne because from a hole somewhere in the top of this cave, moonlight is shining directly on her.
Cool.
Like a giant silver spotlight.
Gotcha.
10 minutes goes and the Eladrin comes back and roll a insight check.
Insight again. Insight. 10.
Roll a perception check.
Oh. Perception with advantage is an 8.
Alright. Okay, so he approaches you, and he... Okay, so... The mistress is a little bit on edge today, so just... tread lightly, answer questions precise and direct, not a lot of games today. She's not really feeling in the mood. But she'll see you, she will hear what it is you have come to offer, and, you know, hopefully we are happy and everything works out well for all parties involved. So, if you don't mind, please come this way.
Yep, I'll follow him.
Excellent. Okay. Your Majesty, may I present to you Ser Ridire of the Material Plane Wandering. That's not right. Wanderer of the Material Plane. I like that better. That's better. Got it. Got it. I apologize, Your Majesty. Thank you. Bows and walks away.
I will bow to the queen.
Okay. And I am going to show you the queen. And this may take a few minutes, depending on the speed of my connection. My connection is solid.
Oh, she's pretty.
So, sitting at the top of this staircase is this very, very beautiful Fey woman. Long pointed ears, fiery red hair. And she is sitting with a, I guess you could say, morose look on her face. Kind of joyless, annoyed. And you say what as you approach?
I didn't say anything. I bowed once he introduced me.
You bow, and
I know with royalty you don't speak until spoken to.
She looks down at you, and from this height, or from this distance, she looks like she might be just a little bit taller than you. Which means that you can guess from the distance, she's actually quite a bit taller than you. She is not a small individual by any means.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks you over and says, "So, Ser Ridire, what is it that the Queen of Witches can do for you today?"
Thank you for agreeing to see me, Your Grace. I have come to your lands seeking an enemy, and I believe it is an enemy we share, and I am here to offer up my services in destroying them, as well as to seek assistance in that same task.
And who is this enemy that you deem yourself worthy of defeating with my aid?
I have encountered several, and I apologize in advance, as I know it is a touchy subject in these parts, several lycanthropes in my travels. Some I have killed, some unfortunately have escaped, and I am here seeking justice. And I believe, from what I've heard from your subjects, humbly, that this is a goal that perhaps would receive your blessing.
Those dirty canine trespassers
I'm just gonna be like a nodding, like agreeing with her, like.
have been traipsing through my land for the better part of a month. I and you feel you can take care of this problem.
I don't claim to be able to destroy them all on my own, but I have a personal vendetta against at least one, and I have no qualms about destroying any of them that attempt to stop me.
Tell me about this one that you have a qualm of.
He, I believe, is younger, takes the form of a fox. I believe she at least claims to be the daughter of one that I destroyed previously. She sought revenge, we fought her off, but unfortunately, she escaped, barely. I chased her into these lands, but I lost her trail.
And what is it you would do with her if you had her?
I would strike her down.
And can you picture her in your mind?
Oh yes. It's been very difficult to picture anything else these last few days.
We may have a bargain that we can come to. You wish this creature deceased.
Yes.
Perhaps I can make that happen. What would you offer to destroy this one?
If it pleases your highness, I would destroy every other lycanthrope in her coven, in her group. Any of them that have come across your lands that I encounter, I would destroy. You may have anything of theirs. It matters not to me. I would do this in order to destroy the one that I seek.
They will all come to get their own form of punishment. Unfortunately, none with a personal connection have come to me yet. But now here you are. But my magic works with personal gifts, not promises of lycanthropic massacres. What of yourself can you give me so that I can strike down this fox-like lycan?
I gotta pause out of character for a minute.
Yep.
I got potentially a very, very pivotal moment. And I don't know what Ridire's willing to give up at this point, because he's still conflicted, right?
Yeah.
So he's not just going to say anything. And he's smart enough to know he shouldn't say anything, because then she'll take everything. But what does he have to give of himself? Because there isn't much to himself anymore. All he is a force of good. That's what he, tries to be. So, I mean, I guess.
Roll a charisma check.
Just straight charisma?
Just straight charisma.
Crit fail.
Alright. Seeing this hesitation in you,
Mm-hmm.
she is going to first roll an insight check, because what she's going to offer is, nothing.
The thing is, it sounds like she's just gonna kill, and Ridire wants to do it himself.
I mean, if that's what Ridire wants, Ridire can voice that.
Yeah, he might. We'll see what she says here. Hi, kitty cat. This is my queen of the witches. She's way more powerful. Are you the queen of the witches, Munchkin? No. She's like, no, I'm a kitty.
Poor Munchkin.
Say hi to the people, Munchie. Look at her face. She's like she's so shook right now. Hi. You wanted to be held, didn't you? You're just pretending like it wasn't what you wanted. But you're not crying anymore. Silly kitty.
Okay.
Okay.
She is just going to wait for a second. She's not entirely sure about Ridire and what he wants.
I'm trying to think of a way to word this, because I feel like I'm in like a Lost Girl situation here. I don't know if you've watched Lost Girl.
I watched a little bit of it with you, but we never got very far.
Anyone that has not watched Lost Girl should watch Lost Girl. Amazing show. Because there is a part where a character gives up part of himself to save somebody else. And essentially it's like an emotion. And that's kind of what I'm thinking here. But Ridire wouldn't want to give up like compassion or anything like that. Normally. But she probably wouldn't want his hatred. And without his hatred, he wouldn't want the deal anymore, right? You know? So is he willing to give away the only thing that makes him who he is? Or because he might not realize what it means, you know, fully. I'm sorry. I know I'm taking a long time, but this is a very
this is why
big.
We're doing this. This is why we're doing this. Just you and I, buddy.
This is a big deal.
I told you changed everything by stepping through that Fey portal. You changed everything. And let it be said right now, I did not force you into this cavern.
No.
Like, that was a roll of the dice that led you to this mountain range.
Mm-hmm. You want something of me, but I have very little of myself, as I have given myself to the people. But right now, in my heart, I hold much anger and hatred for these beings that have wronged me. And how if that may be something you would desire, I would give you all of my hatred and all of my ire. So long as you let me keep it long enough to enact this vengeance. I don't know that she'll want that, but that's what he's going to offer right now. He's still conflicted. He's not straight up just going to be like, I'll give you my compassion. But I feel like she might demand it.
You say to enact your vengeance. So it is not this creature's death that you're wanting. It's your hand to cause this. And then you offer me to kill all the other lycanthropes.
Normally, I would have extended mercy to those who are willing to seek redemption, but at this point, I no longer believe their ilk is deserving.
Oh, if you only knew what their ilk were up to on your plane. For me, they're an annoyance. For you, they're a threat.
Even more reason then that they should no longer be offered the hand of mercy.
So then, take that hand away. You say you give yourself to the people. Well, I don't like to share. But if you swear your fealty to me and become my hand, my blade, I will seek you on the lycanthrope until every last one is deceased.
I am not a tool to be used by those who already possess power. I belong to the people. That is my place. So fealty to one alone, even one so grand as you, is not something I can give, because it is not mine to give.
Then tell me, what is yours to give?
In complete honesty, I do not believe that I have anything to give, other than my word. And I'm not saying there's a little bit of like self-discovery in this moment, right? That's not me trying to be tricky with her.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, if it's not my hand doing the killing, perhaps there is less dire consequences that must happen. Maybe not such a strong commitment. I do nothing to impede this target's attempt at let's say survival. In exchange, you give me your very last breath of life. All the others, up until that point, are yours to do with as you please. I simply get that very last one.
I was really worried that Ridire was gonna falter with all of what was happening. But right now, I, and therefore he, is realizing what he represents and what he stands for. And this Fey trying to take things from him that he would freely give to those in need is insulting to him, because his last breath is not something to be claimed by a person. Once again, my lady, I fear this is not something I can give. For my last breath will only be given in the defense of those who are defenseless.
Oh, you can give it to whoever you want.
I cannot do so if you have already claimed it.
Very well. Then why are you here, if not willing to deal?
I have come to your lands seeking vengeance. But perhaps vengeance was not what I needed to be seeking. And perhaps I have you to thank for teaching me that. But that does also mean that perhaps there is no deal to be made. I will still freely offer this promise. I will stop whatever vile acts these beings are attempting. This may not matter to you, but it may ease the annoyance you are suffering. And in some small part, hopefully, that can at least be seen as a gift. One that does not require anything in return.
You come onto my land. You approach me in my court. To have a change of heart and a promise to rid me of an annoyance. A group of bugs that occasionally trespass on my land.
Came here hoping for your help, but the cost you demand for it is not anything that I am able to pay. I would pay anything that I am able to, but those things you have asked for are not mine to give. So unfortunately, yes, I apologize, of course. But unless there is something else I can give you, I believe
I am not one to beg for someone to make a deal. And in fact, the simple fact that your change of heart has led you to turn down an offer of what you most immediately want it is surprising and not common. I respect that there is no deal here to be made. You are free to make your way back out of the cave of my home. But if you have a change of heart, again, you know what to offer next time. It is impressive to have such strong will. Good luck in your search for vengeance.
I will bow to the queen, and I will just say, thank you for allowing me into your beautiful home. for speaking with me, and I will respectfully turn and leave.
As you go, the Eladrin is there and ushers you out and bows and forgiveness, Your Majesty. I'll get him out right away. Thank you for your kindness. Ser Ridire, follow me, please. Thank you. Oh, that was tense. Okay. Well, if you'll be so kind as to just stand right there at the foot of the steps. Yeah, okay. And he claps, and you are at the top of the staircase.
Cool. I'll exit the doors.
And that is where we're going to end tonight.
Cool. Wow. I was not expecting that. It was all, I mean, literally, the things you asked for were like the only things he wouldn't have given up if pushed.
I was interested to see how far I could get you to go.
Thinking about what was going in there. I was like, what am I gonna offer? I was like, do I offer my servitude? And I'm like, no, that's not something Ridire would offer. It's not his to give. I was like, the only thing, if she asked for him, if she was like, the only way you can enact vengeance is if you have no pity, and she asked to like take away his pity or something like that, he probably would have given it up.
Yeah.
But the fact that she asked for something that he felt was not his to give because it belonged to those that he protected literally just saved his soul, I think.
Oh man.
Like you unintentionally, you were just playing the character. You saved Ridire in that moment by asking for things that he did not believe were his to give.
I wasn't sure about the breath. The last breath. That one could have gone either way.
No. His last breath will only be given in the defense of those in need.
I wasn't sure how vengeful he was. If the promise of getting to get the to kill her would outweigh that thought.
Mm-hmm. And it not for that one.
And the fact that it's been 5 days.
Yeah, so. Especially because if she'd asked for that first, maybe. Mm-hmm. But because she had already asked for his servitude, that already had started shifting his thinking.
Yep.
Immediately. Because that made him think, my servitude is to the people. I don't, and that immediately twisted his whole thing. He's like, what am I doing? and so she wasn't going to get anything out of him at that point, really.
Yeah. No, I heard the moment the wall went up, and it was like, oh, Ridire's probably gonna walk away from this. And that was cool. That was really cool.
I mean, obviously you were able to see that in the way I was behaving there. I didn't. I mean, it felt like it was like when she asked for that, like the tension went for me, because it was like, oh no, Ridire, no way Ridire is gonna give himself up as a servant to somebody, or like to be their hand. That is 100% not what he's about. Like, nope. So, yeah, I potentially expected this whole runaround. I mean, there's still stuff could still happen, but at this point, I think he's back on the upswing. I fully expected this to be the downfall of Ridire as of his redemption. This was his test. This was his mighty test.
Which, interestingly enough, is now making his redemption. I mean this was
the test of how committed he was to his redemption. And it could have gone either way. Like before we started tonight, it was teetering.
Yeah.
It could go in either direction, and
I had so much fun planning this because I was
yeah,
like, oh, he's going to the Hag Mountain. We've talked openly about what if Ridire, like, falls. What does that look like?
yeah,
And so I knew I could present things to you that would not break. Like,
yep. I think
you would be
the other
open
thing would
to
be,
as a character.
yeah. I think the other thing that would have been is that if he had had to fight his way up there, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he had had to kill lycanthropes and monsters and everything his whole way through, he that adrenaline and that anger would have been higher and it would have been more heated.
Yeah.
But the fact that he met a couple of kind or at least neutral beings along the way, the fact that he had his steed with him, that just that kind of moral support, and stuff, just really. I honestly thought it was going to hinge on whether or not the other two caught up with him before he did something bad.
Yeah.
But no, that interaction went completely differently than anything I anticipated, and
good.
I love it because part of the reason I think I jumped on this chance to have a will he won't he thing with Ridire is because I was like, man, it's kind of like, it's hard to play this character. I don't know if I actually fully understand the motivations, but I tell you what, I know his motivations now. I know what he wants and what he is.
Well, and that was there's a reason I incorporated a couple of hags before this. Was to test the waters. Like,
yeah.
Are you going to just, oh, these are evil creatures, I'm going to kill them outright, or you had a conversation, like.
Well, but the thing is, Ridire always has a conversation. Like, once again, had he been fighting stuff the whole way up until he encountered the hags, maybe he wouldn't have.
Yeah.
But he's had 5 days of being able to have conversations, and so that just allowed him to kind of settle back into, no, this is what I'm comfortable with, this is what I know, this is who I am. So I have that. I partially have your campfire system of traveling, I think, to thank for that.
Yeah. No, you rolled very well.
I rolled well, and
then you were able to have the positive interaction with the furbolgs.
Yeah, I think that moment too was a huge shift, because had that gone differently, it might have steeled him more into, like, because like the cold and the rain and the travel, it focused him, but it didn't stoke that flame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, that was a really fun role playing session.
And there are some hardships. Like, if you had failed, there, like, a detestable meeting. The party meets a hostile NPC who demands something.
Yeah.
Like, you could have rolled that.
And if stuff like that would have happened, it might have gone very differently. I still, with what she asked for, I still think he probably would have refused to become like her hand, but maybe with all of the other stuff that had happened, he would have just offered something more before that. So yeah, that's.
And I was rolling to seize you up and try and get a better idea, and I was not. She was not doing well on her insight checks, and she had a +10 to them. So.
Wow.
Yeah, she rolled pretty crap that entire time.
Yeah, if she would have rolled really, really good, she would have been like, "Oh, okay, let's maybe try to attack."
Like, what is it that you're willing to give up? Because she can, like, if I had gotten a nat 20 and that was a 30 that she reached, I would have just said,
yeah.
Tell me what you are willing to give up. How far are you willing to go to say yes? Because she has figured it out.
Yeah. So
would have been a very different conversation.
It would have. It would have been very different. I think this was fate.
All right. Well, we're gonna get going and probably, have a lot to think about. Thanks for watching. Catch us on Saturday for Talamh and Oliver heading into the Feywild and see where they end up. Do they end up in the Queen of Witches domain, or do they head somewhere else? It's all up to chance and what they roll. So, thanks for watching. Thank you again to Abyssal Crew, or Abyssal Brews for their campfire compendium. It is really turned to some cool role-playing sessions the last couple of weeks.
It's a cool system, and the fact that we've all been pretty good about using it in an intelligent way, I think, has really aided us.
It's just been so much fun for the role-playing ability. Instead of just,
for sure.
Oh, nothing happens. Oh, nothing happens. Oh, random monster. Yay. Like, I might do that every now and then, still, but...
Oh, yeah.
But I can at least plot some stuff around it. So thank you to Abyssal Brews. Check the credits in the YouTube description for more about kind of what who we use for stuff. Syrinscape usually, didn't use it today. Awesome session. So thank you. May you... Oh, boy, this is going to be a fun one. This is going to be hard to sleep tonight. So, may you roll those nat 20s and avoid those critical fails, and have a good night.